Hello, everyone. My name is Julie McVeigh, and this is Unordinary Made Ordinary, where we talk about extraordinary experiences of everyday people. After today's interview, if you would like to continue the conversation of all things metaphysical, paranormal, and supernatural, feel free to join the private UMO group by clicking on the link above on the banner. And today we have a returning guest with us. Paul is a medium working with both spirit and ET. He has had contact from a very young age, and that contact has continued throughout his life. And today we're going to have several specific questions for him about what he's learned over the years of contact with the ET Zeta race. Welcome to Paul. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Julie.
So we are going to get right into the questions. If you could please begin by just telling us, who are the Zetas?
Well, the Zetas are known by a lot of people as beings that exist in the Zeta reticulum. They're known as the Greys, I guess, and the Greys are a species. And so there are 63 races that are part of the Grey species. 62 of them are part of a collective consciousness. And one of the races of the Greys is known as the abductors.
Thank you. Before I ask this other question that I had next, what's a collective? If you could define that.
A group of people all with the same intention.
Okay. Who are the Anunnaki?
The Anunnaki. So the Anunnaki, ancient Sumerian, as known as ancient Sumerian, are supposedly the creators of the human race.
According to the Zetas? Is that where that information came from?
No, it actually came from the Anunnaki themselves. And if you have a look through the Zachariah Sitchin's work, there's all this documented information that was originally transcribed from cuneiform into knowledge about the human race.
Ooh, okay. Could you define just a couple definitions here before we move on? Higher self, oversoul, and spirit realm.
Higher self is the spirit person that comes into the physical form as a baby and lives its existence as a human and then goes back to the spirit realm. I think you said the second one was oversoul. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. The oversoul is inside the spirit realm. It's like a hierarchical structure. And so, there's lots of individuals in the spirit realm all living their lives. And then above that is like a collective consciousness or a conglomerate of spirit entities that could incarnate if they wished. And what was the third one?
Spirit realm.
Oh, spirit realm is the container where all of the spirit people exist.
Okay, thank you. What happens to the Anunnaki, getting back to them for just a minute, after death, after the death of their container that their consciousness is in?
Yeah. They go to spirit realm. They've got their own spirit realm because their spirit realm acts a little bit differently. They actually don't reincarnate from their spirit realm because they live such long lives, supposedly 36,000 years. So it's a lot like people that astral travel. They can leave their body when they want to. So can many races, the Anunnaki, the Zetas, and so we seem to be bound very much to the physical container as being the true nature of our existence. But the real true nature of our existence is our consciousness. And our consciousness travels all the time. At night, when we're asleep, it's observing us right now as well. And it's recording all of that information and sending it back through into spirit realm and then back into the oversoul as well.
So the Anunnaki they do have a oversoul as well.
Yeah, this spirit realm here is replicated as their technology as well. So their spirit realm is a mirror image of the human one. Yeah. But
Do
it's a little bit different.
does the oversoul evolve in consciousness or into higher dimensions?
Yeah, everything does. There's no sitting still. Energy constantly transmutates. Consciousness constantly is growing in experience.
So the human spirit realm afterlife has the same potential as the Anunnaki spirit
Yeah.
realm afterlife
Yes.
in terms of what one can explore and how one can develop in consciousness.
That is correct. Yes.
Good. Okay. Do humans choose to incarnate, or why do humans choose to incarnate rather than hang out in the spirit realm indefinitely? And can a human choose not to
Yes, you
incarnate?
can choose not. You can choose not to. That's up to you. You've got choice. You've got free will. Well, here's a question: why did you incarnate?
I'll ask my higher self later.
There you go.
Yeah,
So that's
I
a,
must have
like,
had a reason.
yeah. Obviously, there's, for any person that's here, they all have a reason. If you're not meant to be here, you're not here.
Hmm. Is it true, what they say about the earth being one of the hardest experiences for us, the hardest places to incarnate? I'm not sure if you've heard that. I've heard that several times.
Um, it depends on your belief structure. If you believe that from spirit realm you're able to go into extraterrestrial races, I think you'd really need to understand some concepts in regards to that. So if you're able to leave spirit realm and go to an extraterrestrial race and then go back in the spirit realm, why is it that the spirit people can't tell us anything really about extraterrestrial races?
Hmm.
That's a real issue. They just don't seem to be able to give that information.
Mm.
So when people talk about how difficult it is, it's just a difficult experience being in the physical. It comes with it all of the nuances of being in the physical body.
Would you say that consciousness evolves more quickly here because of some of the unique challenges we experience?
I wouldn't say more quickly, I would just say differently.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Another question about the oversoul. Does it have its own identity? Is there only one oversoul for the entire spirit realm? I guess same for the Anunnaki. Is there just one oversoul,
Yeah.
or is it many?
Well, Maurice Barbanel had a spirit guide called Silver Birch, and Silver Birch said that the oversoul is like a diamond, and that each facet of the diamond or face of the diamond is the spirit person, and the spirit person incarnates. So if you can imagine that the diamond has infinite faces, then of course there's the potential for infinite capacity to be able to incarnate. Are there different oversouls? Look, there's the potential for anything to exist. So yes, there could be. I mean, unless you've gone back to spirit realm, returned back here, and have no veil, well, then you'll probably be able to answer that.
Hmm.
But we all have a veil that is between us and that memory or that existence of our existence in spirit realm.
So once a human spirit crosses over and is in the spirit realm, is there any way, instead of going back to their own oversoul, to jump over to the Anunnaki spirit realm and into their way of existence?
Yeah, look, there would be a way, but I would suggest that rather than going into the spirit realm, you would probably need to bypass spirit realm and go through what's called the second gateway. The
Mm.
second gateway has the capacity to allow people to join extraterrestrial races. But there's some caveats with that, that a person would have to know 100% that they wanted to become an extraterrestrial, because they'll never be able to return back to spirit realm. That's the first thing. The second thing is once they enter into the technology, the gateway has 9 specific points of entry for 9 specific races. You could become an Anunnaki, a Palladian, a Zeta, whatever is listed in there. You would be placed into a temporary holding area in consciousness so that you could acclimate to the environment and also assimilate the information that's required to move your experience into a new form.
Okay, well, yeah, that's, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. I just had a couple questions about the Zeta race. Do they have physical pain upon death, or do they experience pain or illness?
Okay, so on death, no, because they don't have to stay around for their physical body to terminate. They're able to create a new container and just jump into their new body. Well, humans do this all the time. They leave their body astrally and then they return to it. But what if you're able to return to a new container? The concept of this isn't that far removed from what humans already do. Yeah. What was your next question? Sorry.
Just, if they experience pain,
No.
illness.
Illness, no, but definitely, anybody can break something. So if there's an accident and you get injured, they've got technology, just as humans do, to be able to heal themselves. But of course, if the container is too badly damaged, then they just create a new one, and then they just populate that new container.
What if they don't want to come back? I wanted to learn a little bit more about the afterlife process. What if they don't want to come back in another container? Can they take a break?
Yeah. So some may leave their container. They have a store of genetic material. The container is recycled, so nothing's lost. The consciousness exists within the collective mind of the race. And then when a requirement for them to come back, depending on who they are, what function they perform, they can then trigger a maturation process for a new container and then reanimate themselves.
Can you explain what a hybrid is?
Okay, so spirit people are asked if they would allow a extraterrestrial consciousness to form a symbiotic relationship in consciousness with them. Spirit people have the overriding yes or no process. They can say no. Generationally, people are able to allow hybridization through that generational process. Once the person or the spirit person has agreed that it's going to be in a symbiotic relationship with extraterrestrials, the spirit person enters the cellular structure that's created by the parents, the mum and dad. And then, of course, the child is born, and the child is born as a hybrid mind.
You call it a hybrid mind?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that the same thing as hybrid consciousness, or no? That's different.
Oh, yes. Sorry, yeah, same thing. But different words can mean the same thing. Hybrid mind.
So they have a spirit consciousness. Some humans out there on our planet have both a human consciousness within them and an ET consciousness.
Yeah,
and that is a hybrid.
They're blended. Yeah, they're blended.
It's blended.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like side by side.
You can't have a spirit person telling you something and an ET telling you something. That wouldn't work.
Right.
They have to work. They have to work together, and that's why there has to be an agreement prior to incarnation that takes place with the parents. So the parents, mum and dad, are asked, firstly, do you allow this process? And the parents will either agree or not agree. If they don't agree, it doesn't happen. Once they've made an agreement with the humans, those humans are spoken to in their higher self or astrally. Then what happens is that the spirit people, as they are moving towards the gestation process for the mother, they are then encountered because they've moved down towards the physical, the extraterrestrials are allowed to talk to them. They're not allowed to speak to them in spirit realm.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. So once the spirit person's left, spirit realm, come down to the parents, they're allowed to be contacted that way. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Does this blending, how do I say this? The consciousness of a spirit person or the consciousness of the ET, does that impact the physical personality of the physical container? So, for example, would one be able to tell, oh, that's probably a hybrid because they're interested in topics like this? Or is there any
No,
way, any clues?
no. You can't identify somebody by the way that they act, you know. So generally, a person would have some inkling within themselves if they are of a hybrid mind. Yeah.
Okay. Um, well, would you say that somebody with a hybrid mind, they would be more likely to watch something like this type of interview, or not necessarily? You could have a completely human spirit interested in this just the same.
It just depends on where the person is in their journey. Some people don't know anything about themselves. Some hybrids. Other hybrids are starting to get an inkling about their experience. Although we all want guidelines, hard and fast rules, it's not possible.
I always do. My personality, whatever that says about me. Do other planets have beings who also have this veil of forgetfulness that we seem to have? We don't remember the spirit realm. We don't remember every past life we've ever lived, you know. Are there other, because that I would think that would make this planet even more difficult. Personally, that's how I would see it, to live out. Do other planets have this option
I've
of?
been told that you would have that option if you were using spirit realm. So if the beings are related to a human type form and they have a spirit realm consciousness, then yes. But I was watching a show yesterday and they were doing some mathematical calculations on the Drake equation. And using the Drake equation is based on what races could possibly exist out there from a mathematical perspective. And they were saying that even with the most minimal calculations, that the potential is 2 trillion races.
Wow.
So no one's going to have the information.
Right.
It's not possible.
Right.
Even the Zetas won't have that much information either.
Okay, let's go back to Gateway 2.0. Why is it called Gateway 2.0? There's already a Gateway 1.0, I assume.
No, Gateway 1 is spirit realm. Yeah, they called it the second gateway, and then other people started calling it 2.0.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's like a software. You know, it's
Right. Right. And the Zetas came up with this second gateway option?
They created it, yeah. They created it with the other races, yeah. It's only been in existence 2 years.
Okay, it's been in existence for only a couple years. Let me ask you, the hybrids, why how many types of races have decided, or do we know? I guess we don't know how many types of races have decided to ask the human spirit, hey, can my ET race kind of
Yeah.
blend? And why are they doing that?
Generally, there's about 9 races that are incarnating, yeah. And the reason is because back in the past, before other races were aware of the potential of humans, the races started to notice that there was a pollution coming from the planet, and the pollution was based around radio frequency. The potential for that radio frequency to increase as humans' population increased made races realize that there was a possibility that humans would, one, start to create more technological waste, and waste is seen as any type of radio frequency EMF, and also the potential for these humans to now travel and to leave the planet. And so there was some work done by extraterrestrials, and they viewed the timeline, and they saw that humans in around 2045 are going to be leaving the planet en masse. And if we look at SpaceX, we can see all this already happening.
So when did the hybridization, when did that begin? How long ago?
About 70 years ago.
And so
remember that 70 years ago, all of the technologies that exist now didn't exist, and there was hardly any type of frequency coming from the planet, just radio.
So I'm not connecting the dots at how it's going to be beneficial to them to become hybrids with us.
Okay, so you've got a choice, don't you? If you've got somebody in your area, you can either talk to them or you can watch them develop and hope that things turn out. I think the racists went, well, rather than watching these beings, either humans, either travel and take all of their stuff with them into other communities, outer space communities, they thought that it might be a better idea to work with humanity, try to teach them ways of consciousness rather than ways of aggression. They'd seen aggressive behavior before from the planet, and that they don't want that. They do not want to see a race with so much potential go down that path. And so that's why they've incarnated.
And why, since the Anunnaki are said to be the creators of humans, were they not concerned and wanted to come up with a second gateway?
No, the Anunnaki, they're not like other races. They're very much like humans. And so for them, they're quite happy with their potential to move in and out of spirit realm. And they see no requirement for humans to go to other races, right? But even they are now on board with the whole second gateway process.
Are they one of the races maybe that might be an option when a human crosses over?
They are absolutely an option.
Interesting. To become part of the race that created you in the first place, right?
Absolutely.
That's interesting. Okay, and I'm not sure if you mentioned it in this interview, but so we do need to, as humans, come up with our decision on if we're going to take the second gateway and incarnate into a different race, an ET race, before we physically die.
Yeah, this is what we were given other information about.
Okay.
So let's say that as a human, I decide to incarnate into a different race. If I have one single doubt when I leave my body, I'll just go straight back to spirit realm. I won't be allowed to even enter the gateway. If I'm seen to have 100% cognitive understanding of where I'm going to go to a gateway nexus, a portal, I can go there. And then, of course, we have to think about now the other side of the process. We're used to going from body to spirit realm, back to body. Here, we're going to go from body, transitory process, a holding space.
Okay.
And they have to then understand all of your consciousness and your experiences.
Okay.
What if you've had a negative experience and you brought that with you?
Right.
and then you go into a race that has a collective consciousness.
Hmm.
Will that then infiltrate the collective consciousness of the race and cause basic conscious implosion in regards to that race? This was the information that was given to us because they said, we want you to understand that it's not this decision that a human makes to come to another race has significant consequences for the race that come, for the race that you go to.
Right.
They're not taking it lightly in any way. I would say that the potential for people to go to other races is quite limited. If a person's sitting there going, "Oh, I'm going to become an extraterrestrial," and in the back of their mind they're going, "Will I see my loved ones? Will I, whatever?"
Right.
It'll just never happen.
Because they can't go back to spirit realm. They will not see their loved one unless, I guess, their
That's
loved one happens to incarnate into that same race, I
it's
suppose.
it's become
That'd be different.
that generally the gateway is designed for hybrids, and the hybrids, rather than, so okay, I'll explain.
Oh.
A hybrid passes and their spirit portion goes back to spirit realm,
Hmm.
and their normal extraterrestrial portion just goes straight back to where they came from,
Right.
and they don't remember this experience at
Hmm.
all. Okay, they know that they were here, but they don't remember all of the day-to-day activities, all those sorts of things,
Hmm.
because that information is being streamed consistently back to spirit realm and back to the race. The gateway was put
Okay.
in place so that a hybrid could actually go back through a gateway and bring with them all of their experiences, but not their spirit person, but their experiences. And they have to also exist in the transitory process
Mm.
so that everything that they know about themselves can be scanned
Hmm.
and then categorized, I guess, so that when the being enters back into their body or their container, that they are able to function correctly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Prior to the gateway, though, the ET, the hybrid, the ET consciousness would go back and really individually not remember the experiences. But you're saying the
That's right.
experiences are what they wanted to learn, that was being uh, up taken up into
Yeah,
the collective, or
that's right. So
is it
it's in the collective, but
okay?
what they saw was that there's so many hybrids that from so many races that when they returned, that there was some sort of desire to have brought back with them that individuality
Oh,
rather than being just of a collective nature. And I think that that's
wow.
what a lot of races want to do is they come, they enjoy, they experience,
Hmm.
they want to bring back their experiences and, of course, nourish the collective consciousness of these other races and bring in that experiential learning process to the race. This also helps these races understand the behavior of humans a lot better
Mm.
as well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So the gateway, um, something for the ET consciousness, but if you're 100% human spirit, you also have the gateway choice. So it's like benefits both, really,
Yeah, absolutely.
or it can.
But
I
as I
mean, it's an
said, the
option.
potential for somebody to realistically, as a full spirit person, engage the gateway is probably statistically very, very low.
Do you know how many have chosen that option since it began? You said was it
No,
last year?
I we haven't been given that information.
Mm, interesting. But you had said to me before that my higher self, for example, knows right already if my human consciousness, whether I'm a hybrid or not, if my human consciousness will choose gateway, the second gateway.
Uh, it does, but
Hmm.
I guess you have to understand that consciousness just isn't encased in higher self higher self is also projecting itself through as a local construct.
Mm-hmm.
And if the local construct's desire is to be in spirit realm, and that desire is there, then in any way whatsoever it can influence the color of higher self, or the consciousness of higher self, it just isn't going to happen.
What is the difference, really? I mean, I'm sure there's endless differences, or maybe I should say, what are the similarities between spirit realm, let's just say existing in spirit realm indefinitely, maybe incarnating. Earth is the only place the spirit can incarnate. This
Yeah,
planet.
well, I mean, everyone has their own opinions about that, but at this point, I would suggest that spirit people just flashed up and said, yes, that's right. So
Mm.
they're saying that they use the earth as a mechanism for incarnation only.
Gee, what if we destroy the Earth? What's going to happen to spirit realm?
Don't destroy the earth. The other
Yeah.
question is,
Yikes.
if spirit realm always existed before the earth existed, what did spirit realm used to do for the process of learning and experience?
Right.
Or what if, before even humans existed, if spirit realm has always existed, what did spirits do to have extended experiences? These are very, very interesting questions.
Yeah. Um, yeah, which is making my head go in all these different places, and without I had another question. Oh, that people would want to know, I think. So if they choose the second gateway, will they be incarnated into a baby and start their life off from a baby onward on one of these 9 planets in these races, and
If that's
a family and a dad and mom, and mom and dad and all that?
if that's the process that that planet uses, is gestation, yes.
Okay.
If not, then no.
Okay. Interesting. And the human, before their physical container dies, they need to have, like you had said, they need to have this, oh yes, I'm 100% on board, I want to incarnate as an ET. Do they have to have the race picked out as well of the 9, or does that happen after?
I think you'd already know which race you're going to well before you even enter the gateway.
Okay. I'm just thinking, I mean, so many people I know, now that I'm talking about this subject matter more and more, they have no idea what possible races there are.
That's why we do point of origin settings.
Right. Okay. Um, would you mind explaining the difference between, or just defining, what is a non-corporeal being and what is an interdimensional being, and how is that different from an ET?
Okay, so non-corporeal entities could be classed as spirit people living within the spirit realm. Interdimensional energies or entities aren't within spirit realm, although they have access to the spirit realm nexus. That's a different story.
Hmm.
Interdimensional entities such as trillions, the Anorians, these beings are generally either void beings, they're beings that live in the void, which is in a non-matter, non-corporeal state, or they just live in a different vibration, and they have no requirement whatsoever to move to a three-dimensional state.
And so, of the 9 possibilities for the
None of them are
second,
interdimensional.
none of them are interdimensional
No,
or non-corporeal.
that's right. Well, as I said, non-corporeal is, if we say non-corporeal spirit realm people, that clarifies that. If we say interdimensional, they're not non-corporeal because they don't know that state anyway.
Hmm.
Whereas spirit realm know that state because they cycle in and out of noncorporeal, corporeal, right?
Okay, it's a little confusing. So all of the nine would be have the
Physical races.
they're physical, but they can go into a non-corporeal self and then back and forth. No.
It depends. The Anunnaki have their own spirit realm, so you
Yeah.
can go from here to the gateway to the Anunnaki, and then incarnate into their spirit realm, and go back into a physical form as an Anunnaki, but not to return back through to Earth spirit realm. You go through to the Zetas, you don't have a spirit realm because you don't need one.
Right.
You're going into the collective consciousness of the race.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends which race that you enter into.
I
And I
guess
do not have all the information about all the races.
you don't. I know.
No.
I know. I'm asking you so many questions, and I do not expect you to have all the answers. So when one of the planet options I understand is Edin, and that's of the Zetas. Now, are these biological hybrids, and are all of the 9 options some kind of biological hybrid?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I think we have run through all the questions. Let me see how our time is. I don't know how long our time is. Probably good. But
I think we're about 45 minutes at this point. Yeah.
okay. So we're doing okay, we're about 35. We're good. So if there's anything else you're thinking, okay, we didn't cover this or that, just please feel free. That you
Yeah.
think the listeners would want to know.
I guess I've been watching some stuff on social media, and I was been doing some interviews, and I think that people have got some concerns, and I just want to say that there is no space war coming at all. If a race wanted to decimate humanity, it would have already happened a long time ago. The greys known as Ebens to humanity in biological entities aren't some sort of robotic AI that's manipulated by the mantis beings. I'm just a bit stunned at all this information that I've come across. Look, obviously people may go, well, Paul, it's been out there for years, but I don't generally go looking for it. There's ways to explain behavior, explain consciousness in containers, all these sorts of things. I think that the way that maybe humans have explained things to themselves has taken a little bit of poetic license, maybe. And so it's probably a lot more straightforward than what people think. We don't have the mantis people telling the Zetas what to do, and then the Zetas telling the reptilians what to do, and the reptilians telling the little greys what to do. That's not happening. And I know that people probably would disagree with that, and that's okay as well. But I would suggest to the people that believe that if you're a hybrid, you're probably seeking contact. You're not fully understanding where you are at the moment, and that you're working actively towards trying to work out who you are and what planet you're from, what race. So I would suggest that if people meditated probably more, found some more stillness within themselves, asked their guides to come to them, they could probably get a little bit more information rather than just reading it all online. And I would suggest that anything that gives you fear, you should just reject.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on board.
That's all I really want to say.
Well, this has been a really fascinating conversation. I think the listeners are gonna probably love this topic. I do want to have more of these kinds of conversations on the channel. I'm hoping to, and would love it if you might come back another time, and Cyan, your partner, if she might join you sometime.
Yep.
That would be fantastic. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And thank you to everyone watching. I really appreciate you tuning in. And if you did enjoy this conversation, this video, if you would give it a thumbs up, and then if you like this type of content, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and then that will alert you to the next video that comes out. And this has been Julie McVeigh with Unordinary Made Ordinary. I hope you'll join us next time for another fascinating interview. And have a fantastic rest of your day or evening, wherever you are on the planet or off the planet. Bye, guys.